became huge hits and really put Latin music on the map in different periods of time. So how did you come up with the songs for the book?
I wanted songs that had really moved the needle. And I didn't want to go, I went back 50 years, which is a lot. But when we first started to build the book, we discussed going back even further, like the Pérez Prado songs or old boleros. And I didn't want to do that because I wanted the book is an oral history. So it's narrated. I have for those who haven't read it, it's an introduction. Each chapter has an introduction to the song that explains the importance of the song in kind of popular culture. But then the narration is done by the players of each song. And I mean, the artist, the composer, the producer, people. And it ranges from like some chapters have 2 people, some chapters have 8 people. It really runs the gamut. But it's their narrative. So it's all these different voices telling the story. And I wanted them to be alive. I didn't want a third person narration. The only chapter where I did that was with Selena, with Amor Prohibido, because obviously she was killed when she was only 23 years old. So, but otherwise, everybody else, it's in their voice. So that set the time frame. And from there on, first we had like the massive songs, Macarena, Living La Vida Loca, Enrique Iglesias, Bailando Despacito, of course. And then we started to look at those songs that I felt very strongly had really kind of marked a before and after. Like without this song, we wouldn't have had this, or this song created this. And that's how I started to build the book. Some of the songs are in English, like Julio Iglesias, To All the Girls I've Loved Before, which is a chapter I love. There's 3 of those. There's Conga also by Miami Sound Machine and Gloria Estefan, and then Smooth by Santana. And those 3 songs were all really groundbreaking in their own way, either by chart position or Smooth won all the Grammys at the Grammy Awards that year. So each one has their little story.
Yeah, and I love that how you set it up. Like it's almost like you go into this journey with each story and really learn what went into the song, how the artist came up with it, from the composers, how they came with the melody. It really is fascinating to hear that process of all that it takes to put together, like a 3-minute, to 5-minute song, depending on the genre. So it really is fascinating. I love how you break it down and then have it told in the voices of those artists and musicians. So we really get a sense of what they were feeling behind the songs and if it really matches up with, how the music makes us feel, because we all have our own sort of personal emotional connection when we hear this music and it becomes a part of our lives. So I found that really, really fascinating. I do want to ask you, though, since you know so many people in the industry, and I'm pretty sure someone called you and said, Leila, why didn't you include my song in your book? Did you have anybody that felt like they were left out, or were there songs that maybe you thought about putting in, but maybe you kind of changed your mind about later?
They haven't called me, but they've told me when I see them, they're like, oh, and why isn't my song here? And I feel terrible about that, I have to say, because I feel guilty because the people that have asked me, like their songs in a way should be there. But it reached a point where I had to cut the songs. I had to say, okay, no more songs. This is it. And so we really went to the essentials. We did. Like there isn't a song by Maná, who I love. There isn't a song by Juanes. There isn't a song by... Well, some of the new artists, I don't have their songs because I had made the cutting point was 2017 with Mi Gente. That was it. And then at the very end, we added Rosalia's Malamente. But like, I don't have Ozuna, who's a big favorite of mine, or Bad Bunny. So if I were to do a part 2...
Romeo Santos.
Or Maluma. Well, Romeo Santos, I wanted to put, and he wasn't available for the interview. So I said, well, fine, then no. And he is his own composer. So if I didn't have him, I had a problem.
Yeah. He didn't have a story, right?
Yeah. But, I mean, they had a point. I had more songs. I originally had a list of like 40 songs. And then we at one point decided 20 songs. It's going to be 20 and that's it. And that stops. And so I had to be very draconian with it. So I had to choose, okay, this one or this one. And it's not a reflection on the songs. So It's not that. It's because some songs were not huge, like Los Tigres del Norte, Contrabando y Traición. That wasn't a huge song. But I left it because I felt it was a song that really opened the door to all the narcocorrido genre as a musical genre and as a TV genre and as a film genre. So I think that song had a lot to do. So there were different reasons for including the songs that might not seem obvious, but that go beyond just popularity.
Okay, that's good to know because it's not just like, oh, all the songs that hit number one for like 10 weeks or something like the Billboard criteria. You actually were very intentional about the songs that you chose to put in the book.
Yes. And for example, El Gran Varón by Willie Colon, that song wasn't Willie's biggest hit ever, but I thought it was so important that that song talks about being gay from a male point of view at a time when no one was talking about that. I mean, that was a topic that wasn't being touched with a 10-foot pole. And for Omar Alfano, who's a fabulous songwriter, to write the song, and then for Willie Colon, who's, he plays the trombone. I can't imagine anybody more macho sounding and looking at Willie Colon. To record it, I think was a huge statement and very eye-opening. Kind of like, oh, wow, you can really say anything you want in a song. But the song is good.
That was one of the songs that surprised me the most, one of the stories, because I have to tell you, when I first heard the song, it wasn't when it first came out. So I wasn't aware of like all the controversy about it. So I found out about it when I started dancing salsa, and it was one of the songs I know I've danced to before. And I was like, wait, is that what the song is about? I never really looked into it. And to hear that story and the rich history and how it brought AIDS to the forefront and gay issues, like, there was so much to that it made me go back and reevaluate and really look into it after I heard sort of the artist tell the story and the composer and the fact that there was a real guy, right? Like this may have been based on, but we don't know the identity of this person. It's so interesting. So I felt like, I'm always telling people, you've got to know the music. And a lot of people who dance salsa don't speak Spanish, right? Some of them just like connect with the rhythm and they sort of get the feeling, but they don't know what the song is about. And I'm always telling people, you've got to learn, like the song that's, it's not in your book, but it's Rebellion by Joe Arroyo.
Yes.
It's like one of the songs that when I first found out the lyrics, I was like, what? This is about a slave rebellion in Cartagena, Colombia. And it's a dance song. It's not like this song you sit and think about it. So it was just funny to me that there was a song that missed my radar. I was like, wow, this is so fascinating that there was so much controversy about that topic when it first came out. So I really did appreciate that one. But I want to ask you, though, since you've sort of been in this for a while and you know these artists, you've been around the music, was there any story in particular that surprised you that you weren't expecting to hear, or something that you thought was a little bit interesting behind one of these songs that you picked?
Well, they all had something that I hadn't heard. The story I knew best was Despacito because it had just happened and I had reported it kind of to death. But